Hello everyone, and welcome back for another RGB RPG's DM prep guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at session 13 of our Candlekeep Mysteries game, and as always, there's going to be a lot of spoilers ahead, so if you're a player or plan on being a player in the Candlekeep Mysteries games, go ahead and click away. But if you are a DM who wants some extra insight into how another DM might prep for these sessions, session by session, stick around and check out this series. So, session 13, last week in session 12, the party did defeat Shemsheim, the creature that had been implanting that song in their heads and driving people mad. They were able to extract and defeat that evil spirit from the book, and thus freeing themselves from the Firefly Cellar, and definitely garnering the attention of London Flattergast, who, as a reward, elevated the entire group to honorary avowed. It gives them a lot more access to the library, more sway with the scribes and other avowed. They're no longer just guests of the library, they are now of the library. So yeah, after that, they were able to kind of go out and do their own thing, take a much needed rest, visit their extra dimensional mansion, and then set back out into the not so always calm alleyways of Candlekeep. So after a bit of a bit of an encounter while they were just wandering around, we now find them with an abundance of downtime, and that is where we're going to go ahead and pick up with them today. So we're not going to dive too deep into specific backstories with this session, or possibly even the next couple sessions. Instead, what we're going to do today is give them an abundance of downtime, which in theory will give them an opportunity to explore their own characters, to kind of take a look at their own ideals and their own desires, and kind of think of what would this character do given free range of the library and a bit of downtime. We've done something like this before, but we're going to spend considerably more in-game time doing it. I'm potentially going to give them up to 2 to 4 weeks of downtime before anything else is specifically dropped into their lap. So yeah, we're going to be using Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Downtime Revisited. Going to be looking at that and seeing what they might want to do, whether that be researching, of course, potentially learning a new skill or a new proficiency, and getting to know the people of Candlekeep, maybe making a few contacts, things like that. So, session introduction, players find themselves with an abundance of downtime. That's where we're going to start off with today. Not too exciting, but it does provide a lot of roleplay opportunities, which is something that I find obviously super important to things like this. So yeah, let's get into our keys. Players have several weeks to engage in their own private research and so on and so forth. And we're going to give them basically as much time as is fun. Once I can see that the fun is starting to kind of slow down a bit, then we're going to move on to the next adventure of this, which is, of course, The Price of Beauty. It is a really cool looking adventure, very self-contained, not very world-romping like what we've seen in some of the past adventures, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's essentially a spa day for the characters. We won't go into too much detail about The Price of Beauty specifically, that's outside the scope of these videos, but it does look really fun, lots of really cool NPCs to work with. So, as the players are going out throughout their business in the library, they could come across this book in a few different ways. If one of the players is researching the Feywild, interplanar travel, elves and or Sune, especially if anyone tries to look up Sune, that'll immediately lead them to this book. But various different things could lead them there, and we might come up with that on the fly. But the book itself is enchanted, and it has an enchanted mirror set into the cover. If the players don't just randomly find this book in their own research, it'll be in their private study room next time they get back to that, or anything along those lines, just randomly showing up somewhere. When they do find it, there's a few different things that could happen, or could all happen. Sprig could approach them looking for her lost friend, a dwarf by the name of Falthrax, who she hasn't seen for a few days. There's some more details about Falthrax, but essentially he was growing depressed as he was getting older, and had been reading this book to kind of try to find the secret to extending his youthfulness. And when they find the book, they'll see that it is essentially a self-help book, a book that helps you improve your image of yourself, both in the physical reality and your own way of thinking. So Sprig will be curious about the book, asking the players if they've seen Falthrax or anything like that, and during this interaction, or separately from it, London Flattergast will become aware that they have the book. And I say, will become aware. He might have given them the book. We'll see. Might have kind of placed it in their path. but he'll say that they could use a much needed spa day, and that it's been quite some time, so they've had something of the players' talents appropriate of their talents for them to do, so they might as well go take a few days at the Temple of the Restful Lily. Flattergast will say that he's been there a couple times, the last time being about a decade ago, and will encourage the players to go and get a good few days of good special treatment. Um, Flattergast is obviously unaware of the changes that might have happened there. So now, with the encouragement of London Flattergast and with a favor for Sprig, they could, of course, ask around at the temple and see if anyone has seen Falthrax, since he had been seen with the book. And once they decide to go, a portal opens. The book does provide transport to a place near Silverymoon called the Temple of the Restful Lily. Um, Sprig will, of course, think it very likely that maybe Falthrax just went there to rest for a few days. And that's where he is now. So, several different ways the players could find themselves in possession of the book, and then several different ways that the players could find themselves wanting to go to the temple. Which brings us, of course, to our new map. This is the Temple of the Restful Lily. It's big, and there's a lot going on here. So let's go ahead and just take a look. So this is the temple itself. Lots of different rooms, lots of different places for the players to go. A hot spring that the place was built around. The players can learn a lot about the history of the Temple of the Restful Lily and find out that it is a real place. It is an actual establishment that has been in existence for many, many years now. But yeah, and then we get up into here. The players will not see past this line here. You can see from the dynamic lighting drawn that these separate and create the second and third floor of the tower and the basement level of the closed up temple. So the original map had these on two different maps. It seemed really awkward to me, especially since the possibility of one player going to the tower alone is not out of the question. Um, so yeah, having to split players between multiple maps in Roll20 multiple pages is impossible. So we combined the maps together and we got them all into one page. So as always, these maps are going to be available in the Patreon links. So if you want to take a look at that, that's where they are. But yeah. All right, so if the players try to go around the premises, we're going to do our absolute best to not raise their suspicion of the place before they get there. It's D&D though, and they're going to be on a battle map, so they're obviously going to be like, oh, shit's going to go down here. But we definitely want them to at least get the idea that this place might be legit. So if they start wandering around the premises, we're going to have Saith, one of our NPCs. He's going to show up and kind of try to direct them back and be like, hey, there's no need to look around. Why don't you come in and enjoy the facilities? Flattergast may have paid for them in advance. They may be expected. Or they could just be going with basically coupons to get in. But yeah, so there is some shenanigans going on here at the Restful Lily. As the players, I'm sure, will kind of figure out eventually, if not right away. But essentially, a coven of hags has taken over this place. And they have imprisoned and cursed the place's former operator. And this may or may not be why Flattergast sent them here. So, Saith himself is actually a Cambion in service to the hags. The hags have discovered a way to essentially curse people with paintings, and they steal their vitality and trap them inside of these paintings. The person has to come to the hags willingly, asking for some boon. The hags turn it around on them, paint this picture. They get what they are expecting for quite some time before the negative effects start. But yeah, the hags are going to present themselves as three elven sisters, and they are the current proprietors of the temple. If asked what happened to Silvery, the previous proprietor, they'll say that Silvery decided to take a pilgrimage to the east and hasn't been seen in several years. So yeah, a decade to be exact. They're obviously lying. But they do have means of protection from people being able to detect that they're hags. They essentially, them and all of their minions have non-detection on them, so divination magic will not be able to see through their guises. Place will, for all intents and purposes, look and operate like a real business until the players really start to dig deep. Of course, if they do discover this and somehow throw the whole plot wide open right away, luckily, this is actually one of those adventures where that does not really derail anything. If they uncover this mystery right away and throw the veil up over everything and kill the hags, they still have to figure out how the hell to save the people that have been here. So some pretty cool stuff: how to save Silvery, how to restore the cursed individuals back to their original states. The adventure doesn't end if the players figure it out, throw the sheet off, and kill the hags. But that is definitely something that we want to avoid if we can get them really enjoy the spa for like a little while at least first before they really go into hack and slash mode. That being said, if they do go into hack and slash mode, it is extremely dangerous, and hopefully they realize we may not have what it takes to stand up to a coven of hags right now. At least not at their full potential and power with all their minions available. So, if when the players arrive there, they are given keys to their rooms and keys to their chests, which they are told that only they have. Of course, Saith and the hags have master keys. And they can see that several other prominent people from throughout the Sword Coast are actually here visiting, using the services, and they're all happy with it. Many of them have been back time and time again, trying to emphasize the fact that this is a real functioning establishment. But yeah, if they seem interested in the special treatments that are offered here, the three elven sisters, will do their best to entice at least one player to take them up on their special offer. And that is a pretty incredible boon. We can raise ability scores, we can give proficiencies, we can change appearances, change races and classes, and all kinds of different things can happen if the players are willing to give the hags one small boon that will be called upon sometime in the next year, is the way that they put that. So I doubt any of my players are going to fall into that, but you never know, they might. So yeah, but players are discouraged from approaching the tower area. That is where the hags perform the ritual, and the entire first floor is set up to look very, very normal for the situation. And yeah, if the players are led there, they are discouraged to head over to the hidden temple, which is here, but it is visible from this pathway. So players only brought here if they're doing some sleuthing, doing some sneaking around, or if they are invited to partake in the special treatment, in which case the hags make a painting of them, grant them the special power, and then at any point of the hags choosing, if the player renounces their gift, they are immediately thrown into the exact opposite of what they asked. They asked to be powerful, they shrivel up. They asked to be younger, they grow older, which is what happened to a couple of our cursed people here. So, there's a lot that can happen here. This is a very free kind of improvisational session because I'm not sure how they're going to do it, and I can't plan too far ahead without knowing how they're going to react. So it's a very reactionary session where the things that they're doing are going to dictate a lot of what happens, how they interact with this world, and how much they buy into the reality of the situation. So yeah, we have our three major Candlekeep NPCs here in case they go looking for them or stumble across them. Most of our NPCs are detailed out here in the Temple of Restfully, the Temple Inhabitants. Most of them are detailed out there, so no need to go into too much detail about my notes because I have that page open while I'm working. So, Temple of Restful Lily, all of its features are laid out. Now, this is why it could be extremely dangerous if the players go hack and slash through here. We have three green hags, Saith, the doorman, I guess the butler of the place you could call him, is a Cambion who is on his own hard. One of the green hags is a hellhound that follows her around everywhere she goes. Silvari herself, her curse, how the hags cursed her, is that she's now Medusa, doomed to be trapped inside of the Temple of Sune back there. Several of the minions here are scarecrows. A lot of the staff have been replaced with scarecrows, with the exception of one. There's a drow named Ilmar, a Harper agent, who has infiltrated the place and is working as a masseuse. and he believes that the hags have done something with Silvery. He's a friend of hers, and he's not wrong. So another NPC that could approach the party with details of what's going on here, and a few different items for them. The Potion of Hill Giant Strength. One of the hags poses as the fitness instructor, and she does offer rewards. Again, the hags during the day do their best to maintain the illusion that this is a truly um, standard establishment. There's nothing odd going on here. Oil of Slipperiness can be found in a couple different places, and if the players find and either defeat, hopefully not, or rescue Silvery, they get Radiance. It is a +1 wand of the War Mage with some extra attributes to it. Looks like a hand mirror. But yeah, lots of cool stuff for this adventure. Missed anything? I think that's it. So yeah, the players arrive here. They can go about the day as a spa, or hopefully, if they do think something is up right away, then they realize that they might be in over their heads to just go guns blazing, because that could be an extremely dangerous fight if they try it that way. But we'll see. So yeah, check out this episode. The episode will be uploaded to YouTube for anyone to check out and want to see how it actually went compared to how I thought it might go. But yeah, thanks for checking this out, everyone, and we will see you next time.